All right, let's go to the second part now, discussing about the starting the engine checklist. We have here two options, one with hot engine or cold engine. Hot engine means we had another flight before this flight we are doing right now. This one is the first flight of the day, and we will follow this checklist when we have the engine cold, but it is above the freezing temperature. Then it's the reason we will use just to make sure. Let's check the current temperature. We have approximately 16 degrees Celsius. We can check 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Then we are inside of the range within the range. The inner arc here shows for us degrees Celsius and outside in Fahrenheit, okay? We have 16 degrees. In this case, we are above zero and we are okay and good to go for this checklist. We have the following notes. For cold weather starting procedure, refers to the page 4-23. Our current page is 4-7. So we are on the correct page and we are good to go. The first item here on our starting the engine checklist is the primer. We can use this as required, but we can use up to 3 strokes at a time, and we never can use this with the engine hot already. The engine is cold and we are good to use the primer. To use it, you just need to pull it out. It's very easy, 3 times, and then lock it. To do this, you just need to rotate the knob to the right. Looking into my peripherals here, I had some bad configuration for you. It was using my mags on both, and I was just correcting this here. Second item on the checklist is carbo heat. Let's keep it on cold position, hot position, and cold position for the carburetor heat. And then cold is when we have no hot air going through the carbo heat. When we have it in this position, pulling it out, we have hot air going through the carburetor. It can melt any ice we have inside of the system. But in this case, we have no ice. We are just starting the engine. We can keep it on a cold position. For the throttle, our third item here on the checklist, it is only a half of inch. It's almost nothing. It's just to have the carburetor a little bit open to have some air coming through it. The mixture should be full reach, our first item. Here we are full reach using maximum fuel available, and in this position we are poor, or it means no fuel at all. The checklist says to use full reach for the start. So let's keep it full reach and make sure it's full reach. So the next item is to check the area and then do the area check on the left side clear. Ahead it's clear too and right is clear too, and then we can follow our checklist. Now finally we can turn the battery on. Let's turn the battery on, and in this case we can turn the out onto the alternator, because on this airplane the alternator is connected to the engine via a belt, and no problem at all. When we turn the engine, we are turning the alternator too. A quick brief here about the starting. Ignition will come to start position, and then after we need to adjust the power to 1000 RPM. We can check the RPM using the tachometer, and then here we will use this key to turn the engine on. It's a good practice to keep your hand on the mixture if you need, and let's go to start the procedure. Start position, and then engine is on now, and reduce the power to keep 1000 RPM, reducing the throttle control. It's okay to keep around 1200 RPM to warm up the engine at this phase, but as soon as you have a hot engine and you have the engine warmed up, you can reduce the power to 1000 RPM. Now we check the temperature and the pressure for the oil. We can see the oil temperature is increasing. We need to keep it on a green arc, and the oil pressure is increasing too. It should be on the green part of this instrument showing for us this gauge. We check the start if it has disengaged. It's confirmed, it is what we are waiting for. At this point, we can turn our navigation light on and our beacon light on too. Let's turn the radios on. Adjusting the volume. We have everything done here, and we are finished on starting the engine checklist. Next step is the before takeoff checklist. So before doing the before takeoff checklist, we need to do our taxi to the runway 21 here on Sedona Airport, runway 21. Let's see on our chart, just to have a perspective of the airport. It's the chart for the Sedona Airport. We can see here we have runway 3 and runway 21. It's our position here. Our takeoff will be on runway 21. We are here on this position, taxiing on Alpha and then Alpha 1, turning left on Alpha and going to the Alpha 1 to do our engine checks and everything on close to the threshold of the runway. Let's go. We can turn the taxi lights on, and then all the other lights are good, and then we can start our taxi. Transponder on standby. AGF not required, and then we can keep this view. And then left is clear, ahead clear, right clear, and that's it. Accelerate a little bit and parking brake off. Let's start. Okay, we are moving. We can reduce the power a little bit because the airplane has the tendency to speed up. Nice, turning right here. Sometimes we need to put the power on idle position because the airplane is accelerating too much. So our taxi will be on Alpha 6 and then turn left on Alpha and then go to Alpha 1 on the threshold of runway 21. Turning into Alpha now. So upon taxiing, it's a good idea to check your controls. If it's free, it's not locked, let's check a little bit. And it's a good idea to check the brakes too, if you're braking to the left, to the right. Check the turn on the instruments. You can check here. We see our heading, our turning bank turning, and we have our altitude indicator, altitude and climb. We have our altimeter and those things with no indication. It is what we are expecting. Yeah, you need to keep your aircraft taxiing on the yellow line, and we have some tricks, or you can have some references to keep our taxiing like this, more or less on the nose of the airplane on the left side. Let's check. A little bit to the left. Okay, I am turning too much. When we are looking from outside, we have no references. Okay, let's check inside now, and then we can see. Yeah, we have on this part here, we have a good reference to know if we are taxiing in the correct way, and with the wheel on the nose wheel in the line, the yellow line in this case. As here we are uphill and we need to use a little bit more power. Okay, we are speeding up too much. We can reduce a little bit the power. It's a good idea to check the traffic left side, right side, especially when we have intersections. Crossing Alpha 2, the next one is Alpha 1. Just remembering, we need to keep our nose into the wind for the engine run-up checks. For the run-up checks, I'll use the PO8, the required checks we need to do before taking off. But some of the checks will not be on the checklist. However, those are the procedures adopted by the schools. So we need to keep our nose into the wind for the checks, for the run-up checks, and I'll be out a little bit here on the left side and do a right turn now and keep the nose into the wind for those checks. It's okay here.